You all know him as David Wood, and he's just as good as he should be. If you want the jihad facts, you've got to turn to him and me. Because we will tell you what is true, and not do what they do, blame the Jew. Ladies and gentlemen, This Week in Jihad is back and better than ever. We are here with the great David Wood. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, David.
Hello, Robert. By the way, I'm starting to think that when you have to cancel an episode for some reason, it's actually because you didn't come up with a poem in time.
That's right. That's right. My entire workload has suffered grievously because I spend the bulk of the week trying to think of a poem and then have to gather all the jihad news. And of course, last week there was just no jihad. So that was that.
Yeah, it's good. There's no jihad finally.
Peace.
Well, to be clear, there was jihad in the sense that people were going to the gym and making friends across the aisle, because remember, that's what CARE says jihad is.
Yeah, CARE loves doing that too. They're so nice to those who oppose them.
Yeah, they are.
Sweethearts.
They're my best buddies.
I think.
Raymond Ibrahim.
Ibrahim Hooper.
Oh, yeah.
Ibrahim
Raymond
Hooper.
Ibrahim. We do know.
Not our buddy Raymond.
Yeah, I actually know him. Wow,
yes.
That was a weird one to confuse.
That's Ibrahim. Funny. Now I'm thinking of Raymond Ibrahim Hooper.
That would be awesome, because those guys are polar opposites there.
Yes, they're constantly fighting, constantly having an internal struggle, an internal jihad. Anyway, since you mentioned him, Ibrahim Hooper, let's lead off with Ibby. Honest Ebe, we call him. Honest Ebe Hooper of the Hamas-linked Council on American Islamic Relations was actually in the news.
Wait. One second.
Yes, sir.
Was this the one where was he saying there's a hate crime and it turned out to not be a hate crime?
What a surprise. Like has never done that before.
Happened like 90 times.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if Ibrahim Hooper has ever identified a hate crime that actually was a hate crime.
He did. He identified the vicious stabbing of Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk. CARE was all over that one.
We got news on him too, David. It's a big week. So we'll start with
fake. Is this fake hate crime edition?
It might well be. It might well be. We got Ibrahim Hooper of the Council on American Islamic Relations acting as if he is the Council on International Islamic Relations and commenting on an incident in India when two young students, Mohammed Imtiaz and his 18-year-old girlfriend, I'm not sure that's halal. In any case, they were beaten in front of a movie theater in India. And Ibrahim Hooper immediately and intrepidly took to Twitter to decry Islamophobia and Hindutva.
Well, that's good, because we got to call out the people who are guilty always.
Yes, but of course, as it turned out, ladies and gentlemen, David, who do you think was the group that was actually responsible for the beating of this young man and his beloved girlfriend?
I mean, it sounds absurd and ridiculous and impossible, but we've just seen it so many times where, there's going to be this attack on a mosque. The Islamophobia, and turns out to be a jihadi. Or there was vandalism at this turned out to be a Muslim. So I'm going to go with Muslims.
You are correct.
Shocker.
Really, you're running up a big account here. I'm going to have to take out a loan to pay you back because I owe you so much prize money at this point. I don't know where I'm going to come up with it. Ladies and gentlemen, the donation jar is open. In any case, you'll be able to on your Allahu Akbar winnings alone. In any case, the reality of the situation in India was that the Muslims were angry that this Muslim couple was going to watch a film that actually has Hindu characters and Hindu themes. And they thought that this was somehow offensive to Islam. So big fail for Ibrahim Hooper this week. And oddly enough, he's getting behind a fake hate crime. Uh,
And
Meanwhile, yes.
and you know what's really messed up, because you know as well as I, these go way back. I mean, it used to be like endless. Every week there was a new hate attack, and then every week it would turn out to be exposed 3 days later as not a hate attack. But what's amazing is that some of these you can find people years later and they still think they were hate attacks, because
Hmm.
as soon as someone say, there was a hate attack against a Muslim, an Islamophobic attack, all the media, they cover it instantly, and then as soon as it's exposed, they just go quiet about it. And so people think that it was, these things are actual hate crimes, because they don't, the mainstream media don't cover the refutations later on.
Absolutely. I saw that again and again and again. As a matter of fact, uh, at the website Jihad Watch, you can look on the left side. I mean, I'm sorry, I should know after 20 years. On the right side of the front page, and you scroll down a bit, there's a category section that has opens up to a menu, scroll menu thing, and there is a hate crimes category, which is just story after story going back years of fake anti-Muslim hate crimes and how they were exposed. And again and again and again, we see CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of them reporting the charge. And then who's reporting that it turned out to be fake? Jihad Watch. Not quite the same reach, unfortunately.
And by
So,
the way, it's messed up, because as soon as they say here was an Islamophobic hate crime, all the media jump on the bandwagon, and they all, for a brief fleeting moment, seem to understand, if there's actual, groups of people being inspired by something to go around committing acts of violence, we really need to look into the ideology. So they say, hey, we have to look into this Robert Spencer guy for spreading this Islam. We need to look into the ideology that motivated this hate crime. And then they find out, it was Muslims. End of story. No need to look behind the curtain, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing there.
that's it. David, I have to digress for just a moment because this fellow infidel, and I hasten to assure the world that the swastikas there by his name are not Nazi symbols, but Hindu symbols, which it's a sacred symbol in Hinduism, so don't get all upset. In any case, it says here, finally RS, that's me, I do believe, without his tie. I have
I
to
see the
assure
tie.
you, yeah, the tie is here, it does exist. Let me get rid of this. The tie is yellow. And it's right here, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's clearer there now. So let's not have any more of these rumors about me appearing without a tie. Uh, I mean, come on. I have a reputation
Yeah.
to uphold here,
Yeah,
ladies and
stop
gentlemen.
lying, everyone. Bunch of liars. Bunch of liars in the chat.
Maybe the Council on American Islamic Relations has made it into the chat. Uh, anyway, the San
That would
Diego,
that would explain the swastikas there.
yeah, Council on American Islamic
That,
Relations.
that they would have a different meaning coming from Ibrahim Hooper.
Oh, he's going to hit the ceiling now. Ibrahim, calm down. Uh, Poor old Honest getting it from all sides these last couple of weeks. In any case, over in San Diego, our friend Uthman ibn Farouk. I'd love to meet this guy. I haven't had the pleasure, David. I know that you and he are well acquainted because he immediately blamed you after he spilled ketchup all over his caftan. but
Listen, everyone. I went to In-N-Out Burger. They put way too much ketchup on my burger and spilled ketchup all over me. Where's David Wood to condemn this attack?
Yep. That's about the size of it. But anyway, for those of you who may not know the story, Uthman ibn Farouk is an imam and a YouTube Islamic apologist out of San Diego. And he claimed a few months ago that he had been stabbed by an Islamophobe and that the Islamophobe had been arrested. The only problem is that people have been looking for the police report, looking for arrest records, etc., etc. Nary a thing. And so it doesn't seem as if there was actually any incident at all. Also, David has examined with Apostate Prophet in some detail the photograph that Uthman ibn Farouk supplied of the stabbing, and it was fake, or it seemed fake, did it not? The blood, David?
Oh, no question. Yeah, I mean, fake fake blood, the kind you get. I mean, you could get cheap fake blood like for Halloween and stuff like that. That doesn't look very real, but you can get like fake blood that's used in movies and things like that, and it looks really it looks real on your skin. It doesn't look as real on clothes, but it definitely doesn't look real if it's supposedly if it's supposedly been sitting for a while, because real blood starts turning like a brownish red, and fake blood just stays the same color. It doesn't look real. But I mean, other people have like been going and calling him out. There's even lots of Muslims now who are calling him out, and he's just insisting. He's just insist. I mean, it's funny because notice I'm actually still open to there being some explanation for this, because that was our position when me and AP went on there. I'm just like, okay, it really looks like he has video of a guy coming to fight him. So I was concluding that he was probably stabbed, but that the blood was fake. So he got into an altercation, a road rage type thing, maybe got stabbed, and then, I can use this. And so let me call one of my buddies to bring over a bunch of fake blood or something like that. And then claim Islamophobia, good way to get more fame quickly. And that's what all the Muslims around the world started condemning us as usual. Shame on you for causing this. Oh my goodness, blah, 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 blah. And then people started, pointing out problems with the story. But Sheikh Uthman said, yes, and I went and I gave them the police report, and police have the knife. And then later on he's saying, and the man has been arrested. He's now in jail. He's being prosecuted. Meanwhile, because he's making all these claims that are publicly verifiable, people contacted the police station, contacted the prosecutors, contacted the courts, no one can find anything about any such attack. And again, maybe there's something we're missing here, and it's going to come out. Yes, you see, here's all the evidence, but it's looking really, really bad. And again, Muslims are challenging him on this. Everyone's calling him out. People are showing up to places where he's speaking, asking him for the evidence, and then he'll just shame them. Shame on you! You're the liar! You're the liar! Ha ha! And then his crowd, yay! Oh, Sheikh Uthman. It's like,
well, that's actually the story I've got here. It's a story like that.
Yeah, and the point here is, guys, for you, our Muslim friends who are watching, why do your Dawa guys lie like this? Why do they lie like this? They
Good
lie
question.
like this because they know they can get away with it with you. They know you will never, ever hold them to account unless it's some competing Muslim sect. And those are the people who are calling out Sheikh Uthman, people who already didn't like him because he's from the wrong group. And so they'll call him out. But if you're Sheikh Uthman or Ali Dawa or Muhammad Hijab or any of these guys, for a fact you could lie all day long. Your followers do not care one bit. And that encourages more lies.
And why do you think they lie so much, David? Why do you think
I
their
don't know.
followers don't care?
There's nothing behind the curtain, Robert. Don't look back there.
Well, it does occur to me that when you say their followers don't care, it's because their followers and they are both tied into an ideology that allows for lying. And then they lie about that, of course, and say that it doesn't exist, but it's right there in the Quran, chapter 3, verse 28. Don't take unbelievers as your friends and protectors in preference to believers, unless you're doing it to guard yourselves against them, which commentator after commentator, going back to the classic commentators and the alleged companions of Muhammad, or the alleged companions of alleged Muhammad, they all say this means we can deceive the unbelievers and pretend to be on their side. So why is this even controversial?
We smile in their faces while cursing them in our hearts.
Yep, Abu ad-Darda. Mm-hmm. So, another thing that you actually explained to me that I would never have known was that the blood was spattered on his shirt, and that if it's a wound, if the blood is coming from inside Uthman ibn Farouk, it's not going to spatter. But if it's splashed onto him from outside, then you get splattered. And I thought, oh well, that certainly makes sense.
Yeah, I've had my face smashed in repeatedly fighting when I was young. Real blood soaked into clothes has a distinctive look. I've fortunately never been stabbed. I know several people who've been stabbed, and I've seen the wounds and so on. And yeah, you don't get the splatters that look like it was flicked on there from outside. If it's soaking if it's soaking your clothes from inside, it just you start getting a bigger and bigger spot of blood.
Hmm.
If it looks like it's been with Sheikh Uthman, it looks like it was flicked on him, flick 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 flick, spattered all over him. My goodness,
I don't think they thought this through. But
no.
anyway, the story that I've got here is about a journalist who works for Focus on Western Islamism, which is, I believe, part of the Middle East Forum constellation. And his name is Ahnaf Kalam. I don't know if Ahnaf Kalam is a Muslim, but he certainly very well may be. And he went to a mosque in Aurora, Colorado, where Uthman ibn Farouk was the guest speaker. And he started asking him questions about this alleged attack. And just like you said, Uthman ibn Farouk called him a liar and led the audience in a chant. They started chanting something that is very common in Islam. What do you think they were chanting, David?
I'm tempted to break out the wheel of jihad, but I'll just let's just skip to the end, and I'll say Allahu Akbar.
Yep, you got it again. And so then they marched this guy out of the building. Karim Abu Zaid, the imam of the Colorado Muslims Community Center, grabs hold of Ahnaf Kalam and marches him out the door while the crowd is cheering. And Uthman ibn Farouk, as this is all going on, he says, "You see these Islamophobes? They come lying themselves and they accuse us."
Now, this is amazing, by the way, because I mean, you can't have a bigger liar than someone like Sheikh Uthman. I mean, back in the day, what was it, May or something like that? He was having a discussion with another Muslim on Twitter, and the Muslim asked if he supports violently subjugating the unbelievers and enslaving them, and he said, "Of course I do." Blah 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 blah. And he says, "You can check this out in my lectures." And then later on, he was in a live stream. He's in a live stream, and people ask him. Someone calls in and asks him about that. And he says, "Yeah, when I said that, blah 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 blah." She starts describing what the interaction was, and it's being taken out of context and so on.
Oh, context.
Then
There it is again.
Then all of us started using that, saying, "Look, this is what Sheikh Uthman really says when he's talking to Muslims. Very different from what he says to us." That's when he said, "No, no, no, I never tweeted that. I have an intern who tweets, and he said that, but I had him take it down as soon as I saw it because I don't support that." And so I pointed out, "Wait a minute, you said in the live stream it was you. You said that, and you explained the context of your discussion, and now you're saying you didn't say that. So what's going on?" And then his response was, I didn't watch his response, but I've heard people said that his response was, I said that I said it, but I didn't say I didn't tweet it. Ha ha! I never said I tweeted it."
This
And
sounds
and then
like how they explain the Quran passages.
his followers start bombarding the comments section of my videos. Ha ha! You've been refuted. Sheikh Uthman proved that it wasn't him.
You've been
Like
debunked.
every discussion you get into with him, he's constantly lying, and his followers are just sitting there smiling and nodding at everything. I mean, I've sat there with him, and like we're reading a passage of Ibn Kathir, and he'll say Ibn Kathir is saying the exact opposite of what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, precise, like whatever Ibn Kathir is saying, he'll say no, and he'll argue that he's saying the opposite. But he's surrounded by his followers, and all his followers going, "Yeah, great point, great point." And the psychological impact that has on you over time is, I can say whatever I want, no matter how obvious the lie is, and no one will hold me accountable.
That's
And
right.
that's why you get Sheikh Ibn Ketchup, right?
Yep.
That's when you end up with ketchup attacks. He realizes you get this feeling of invincibility. I can get away with anything. He could get away with murder and just say he didn't do it to his followers. It wouldn't matter if they found a bloody glove in his pocket. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if he said he didn't do it. They just believe him. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you get liars representing you.
And this is a larger phenomenon. People are saying I'm too loud. I don't know how to turn it down. Do you know how to turn it down?
Yeah, you have you see the little controls where it says like you and guest or something like that.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, and I'm going into the red. Yeah, I'm too loud.
Yeah, there's a little round thing on one. Click on that and drag it back, and that turns your volume down.
Okay, let's see. Click on that and drag it back. Okay, how about now? Nope, looks like needs to be dragged back more. How about now, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we're going to go with that. Anyway, let's see. There was something I was going to say, and I got distracted by the microphone. Oh, yeah, this same phenomenon that you're talking about, I've seen in much more sophisticated contexts than Uthman ibn Farouk. Trita Parsi, who is a very influential individual, or at least has been, he is the founder and the head of NIAC, the National Iranian American Council, an Iranian advocacy group. And a few years back, there was a guy who said in an article that NIAC was an advocacy group for the mullahs, an advocacy group for the Islamic Republic of Iran. And Trita Parsi actually sued him for libel and lost because the guy was able to establish in court that NIAC really is an advocacy group for the Islamic Republic of Iran. And they're getting a lot of heat for that right now because with everybody seeing how terrible the Islamic Republic really is, people are finally getting upset with NIAC. But I remember having a back and forth with Trita Parsi on Twitter a few years ago, and I said, you're an advocacy group for the Islamic Republic of Iran. And he said, this is a total lie. You are lying. We were exonerated in court and shown that it was proven in court that we were not an advocacy group for the Islamic Republic. And I said it was just the opposite. That the guy won the case against you. I have the records of this. And of course, he just brushed that aside completely. And all his friends and followers were saying, oh, you have debunked the Islamophobe. But it was just as dishonest as what Uthman ibn Farouk is doing now.
Yeah, and again, it's something you could do over and over. People also call him Sheikh Ibn Footnote because he was challenged to produce a hadith that shows what he said, and he came back and supposedly produced a hadith, and it was something like the part that he was supposedly showing that he was right was actually a footnote, and even then there was like a typo that made it what he wanted to say. And you know, if some completely incompetent person did that, then that would be one thing. But he claims to be an expert in hadith studies and so on, hadith classification. So you got to take your pick. Either you're so dumb, you're so clueless that you don't know the difference between, you know, a hadith and a footnote, and you can't tell when there's a typo, and you can't tell those kinds of things, which means you're completely incompetent. Or you did know that that was a footnote, you did know that that was a typo, and you lied anyway because you thought you could get away with it. Mm-hmm. So you're either a liar or you're incompetent. Which one is it? Guess what? His followers do not care. They do not care. On a scale of 0 to 1,000, they care 0. It doesn't matter to them.
You're from the Ahl at Typo, the people of the typo family. And so it's your sect, you know, it's your whole theology is based on that. Anyway, I got a few stupid infidel stories. Shall we hit those?
Sure.
You up for some stupid infidels, David?
I'm always up for stupid infidels.
Always a favorite part of our show. In Sweden, part of their Christmas observances is a procession on the day of St. Lucy, the feast day of St. Lucy. This is says Lucia in Swedish. But in any case, they have this procession. It's tied to Christmas. It's a Christian thing. She's a Christian saint. Christmas is a Christian thing. And so there was a group that was actually protesting because they were excluded from all this when it was taking place in a Swedish school. And so the school decided, in light of this particular group that was protesting, that they would ban all Christian elements from the St. Lucie procession and all related observances so that the Muslims don't feel left out. Now, I would just ask you, what do you think, David, would happen if there were a large group of Christians who settled in any majority Muslim country and then demanded that all the explicitly Islamic elements of the Eid al-Fitr celebrations be removed so that they don't feel uncomfortable? The Muslims would be ready to accommodate that right away, would they not?
Well, of course they would. I mean, it's because Islam is tolerance. Islam means peace and tolerance. So of
That's
course
it.
they're going to want to be tolerant as possible.
Yes. So anyway, the school is going to have a de-Christianized Christian celebration. And this is the thing. This is something that I've written about many times. In Muslim countries, you have to conform your behavior to Islamic sensibilities. And in non-Muslim countries, you have to conform your behavior to Islamic sensibilities. It's just the way things are.
And what was, I mean, the worst part of all of that is the message it sends to Muslims. It sends the message. Just call everyone Islamophobes and we'll do whatever you want, no matter how many terrorist attacks, no matter how many how many stabbings, shootings, bombings there are in the name of Allah. Make your demands and we'll just give in to them instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And that just encourages them to make more demands.
That's it.
And it's you can see with the whole Andrew Tate thing and lots of lots of the Dawa guys, they're running around preaching Westerners are just cowards who will always back down and they can't stand up against a real ideology and stuff like that. And then people actually do what they say and it confirms it. You see, this confirms it. We're strong, they're weak. We're strong because we have the truth. We have the truth.
Yeah. It's not that it's that the infidels are so stupid and weak. Speaking of sending the wrong signals to jihadis, that brings us to the story of a gentleman in Michigan named Hassan Choker. I think, what could be better than to have a jihadi whose name is Choker?
Like the angel Gabriel, the choker.
Yes. So Hassan Choker one day decided to go over to the daycare that was being run out of a synagogue. And while there are all these little kids there and parents, he starts shouting abuse, anti-Semitic abuse, and abuse of Israel, harassing the people there, and shouting various things that I will not repeat because this is a family program. But Hassan Choker was arrested, and he was taken to the police station, and the police did their thing with the paperwork and all that. And then they said, okay, we're letting you go now. And he said, good, I'll go. I'm going to head to another synagogue. And they said, okay, and fist bumped him and sent him on his way. Now, the people in the area of Bloomfield, is it Bloomfield Heights, Michigan? In any case, they're upset. All the police said was, oh, do us a favor and don't go back. But they didn't project any strength. They didn't project any indication that there was going to be any serious trouble if he did this. So Hassan Choker's treatment seems to be a little bit out of focus with the kind of treatment he might have gotten if he were, say, uh, a Christian, a MAGA hat wearing conservative, any number of other things. People are saying I'm echoing.
Yeah,
So
I hear that too.
how about now?
No, you're not. Sounds better now.
How do you like that? Just
What'd
like
you do?
that.
Did you click on echo cancellation or something?
Well, suddenly there were two things here.
Oh,
There
your
was,
feet your audio was coming in through probably two different
yeah.
mics.
Sorry
Okay,
about
we're
that,
gonna.
folks. Somebody's going to write and say this was all scripted, and this is appalling that you think this is entertaining. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Listen, I just finished a book a few days ago. I finished a 450, 500-page book on a history of the Byzantine Empire, and that I can do. This I'm not so good at.
Yeah,
So apologies.
no one's gonna accuse you of being a tech genius.
No, no. So sorry about that, folks. It's been a half hour. I hope it was tolerable. In any case, stop by next week, and I'll have learned this now. Something else will go wrong, but this will be fixed. Okay, so much for Hassan Choker. Me,
His cousin Hassan Stabber.
Hassan,
I
suicide
bet
bomb.
I bet Andrew Tate's gonna change his name to Choker.
Yeah, that's a good one. In
Choker, Stabber, Beater.
they're cousins. In Germany, yeah. We always
Ja,
have the stories from Germany.
du hast recht.
Ja, ja. Und in Frankfurt, in the University of Frankfurt, this happened. Yeah, we have these were actually leftist, non-Muslim climate activists, and they went and occupied the law lecture hall in the University of Frankfurt after beating up some police officers. And then, oddly enough, since they're supposed to be climate protesters, they started to express support for Hamas, the Jihad terror group, and said, we consider Hamas a resistance movement against Zionism and imperialism. From this perspective, we support Hamas unconditionally in its military and non-military struggle against Israel. Now, why might that be unwise for these folks, David?
Because I mean, there are like 8 reasons, but I mean, the most obvious would be like, I mean, these would be some of the first people subjugated.
Indeed, they would be. And also because, of course, Hamas delights in blowing up civilians, lobbing rockets into civilian areas, all manner of things that infidels ought to know that these are not people that are going to be your friends.
Um,
Yes,
I was just going to point out that like just because I've seen it so frequently that whatever any group in the West likes or approves of, there will be Muslim speakers saying, "Ah, Islam is the religion for you if that's what you believe." Like, women say they want, equality and stuff like that, and then the response is, "Ah, then Islam is the religion for you because Muhammad is the greatest feminist who ever lived." Blah 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 blah. And people like science and the Quran is a book of science. It contains these miraculous scientific insights that couldn't possibly have been known by Muhammad. Like anything anyone happens to like, and this allows them to form alliances with like LGBTQ groups, even though that they're I mean, if you think of two groups that do not belong together, it would be those two. But they'll just say whatever they need to say in order to win support from any group. So I was just thinking if climate activists went up and started talking to a Dawa guy, we really want to do this. We got to save the planet. We got to stop the global climate change, and like Muslims would, Muhammad was the greatest climate change activist of all time. There's all these passages in there about, we need to do something about climate change. So convert, sign up.
I remember Linda Sarsour a few years back saying Muhammad was the first feminist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So convert, and then you can help Hamas.
Ha. Speaking of Hamas, actually, the Lockerbie bomber, he was not Hamas, but it was in the same constellation of terror groups pre 9/11. The man who built the Lockerbie bomb that killed 270 people in Lockerbie, Scotland, when a plane was bombed out of the sky, 259 people on board and 11 people on the ground in 1988. And he was just extradited to the United States for trial. And I thought his photograph was interesting. If I put this up here, will you see this, David? There he is. Abu Aguila Muhammad Masood. And he seems to be accused of, it doesn't seem to be, he was accused, stands accused of building the bomb that killed all those people. Can you see the picture?
No.
No, I don't.
Everyone else does, so you're good. There is a setting so that I can see it, but we can worry about that later. It's not
Okay.
essential. I can see it on the regular video screen.
I love that it says Robert Spencer under the guy's picture, but in any
Yep,
case,
there it is, Robert Spencer. That is a photographic negative of Robert Spencer.
But this guy has a very prominent Zebiba.
Yep, I see it.
A very, very nice, well-developed Zebiba. So, what do you think that might tell us, David, about his motivations and intentions and goals?
Well, I mean, according to the Quran, that's the mark of a true Muslim.
There you go. So, somebody who totally misunderstood Islam to the extent that he killed hundreds of people in its name and in accord with its teachings is turns out to be a devout and observant Muslim. It's very
Shocker.
strange. A Zebiba. Somebody's saying, "Oh, what? A Zebiba." I believe the word means raisin, but in any case, it's the mark on your forehead from prostrating yourself all the time. You hit your head on the ground 5 times a day, and multiple times during those 5 times, and you're going to get a mark on your forehead that stays. It's a kind of a badge of honor, a sign that you're prayerful.
I've always assumed that if that gets you cool points in Islam, having that mark, like, don't you think that guys make sure they really bump their noggins a lot, like oh yeah, I'm gonna bow down. Oh, look at my Zebiba. You know what I mean?
Yep. And now we need to get the animation in to put the stars around your head. And...
That would be a funny cartoon. A dude is like unconscious and hospitalized and stuff. And like, what happened to that? He's trying to improve his Zebiba and went, took a little too far. Got a concussion. Hugh Salter said concussion.
So many shows to do.
I've got 37 concussions.
Yep. But I got a good Zebiba.
Got it. One heck, it's worth it.
So I got a whole big section here of Muslims behaving like Muslims in ways that might confuse and confound the stupid infidels, but it's all sort of a what did you expect category. Over in Indonesia, there was a suicide bombing and a police officer was killed, and the bomber left a note that he was protesting against the Indonesian criminal code because it is the law of infidels. And he declared his intention to fight the satanic law enforcers. Because what law does he want implemented in Indonesia?
Sharia.
How do you know this stuff?
Isn't it amazing? It's like, okay, if you just have purely non-Islamic law to accommodate, especially in a place like Indonesia where you have a lot of different groups from a lot of different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. If you were to, if you make laws that are just, generally tolerant, then you have to die. But if you impose quite a bit of Islamic law, but not enough, then you still have to die. And so it's like, unless you adopt full Sharia, there's always going to be people trying to kill you. And then, of course, if you adopt full Sharia, you're going to be killing everyone anyway for violating Sharia. So no matter what happens, a bunch of people die.
Indeed. And speaking of no matter what happens, forgot to lead off with the World Cup. And
that
yeah,
that big soccer tournament.
Yes, no matter what happens, there are riots. The Muslims rioted all over Europe after Morocco beat Spain a few days ago, and I believe as we are discussing this tonight, there are riots in France because Morocco lost
Mm-hmm.
to France. So they rioted when they won, and they're rioting when they lost. Why on earth are they doing this, David?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I actually thought, here's how dumb I am after all these years. When they rioted when they won a few days ago, then I was thinking today when they lost, I was thinking, oh, cool. At least we don't have any riots. Wrong, wrong. You got the riots. You got the riots anyway. It's crazy stuff. But the other interesting thing, I don't know if you've been following it, but every time Morocco won, there were all these messages. You see, Allah has blessed them. This is the proof that Islam is true, and you all need to convert to Islam because Morocco won a game.
Yep.
They won the soccer game.
And the rioters were chanting Al-Andalus when they were rioting in Europe when they beat Spain the other day, which I thought was interesting. That, of course, was the name of the Spanish Islamic state from the Middle Ages that was not a paradise of tolerance and multiculturalism as it is often assumed to have been in the West today.
Isn't that hilarious though? Like, we once controlled Spain, and you eventually drove us out. And us taking Spain was the proof that Islam is true. But then you drove us out. That's not proof of anything. But Allah says, drive them out from whence they drove you out. So we have to take it back. We haven't been able to do that, but we won a soccer game. You see, this is the proof. But then they get beat by the same, that was Charles Martel, man.
Yep.
The same guys that beat you were the guys who beat you in 732. So
Allah can't beat the French.
Yeah, now, I mean, you would seem to think, hey, guys, the general solution here is not to make arguments based on winning and losing this battle even, or let alone this soccer match. But nope, it's just somehow it gets ingrained into them. Anything you can point to, no matter how hypocritical, no matter how inconsistent, and turn it into some idiotic proof of your religion, do it. Even if, the next game or the next battle or the next whatever is going to show the exact opposite. You can just ignore that.
It's a beautiful religion, really.
It's amazing.
Okay, we got a story out of Italy and the beautiful town of Sora, where there were workmen putting up Christmas lights. And this was sort of a festive occasion, and a crowd around watching them put up Christmas lights, and it's a beautiful thing. And then this fellow comes along and he starts shouting something that scared everyone. And the local news story says that they were terrorized. What on earth do you think he could have been shouting to make everybody scared?
My brain is too fried to think about all this stuff, so I'm not even going to look.
I think it says, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it says Allahu Akbar.
It does say that.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually
correct?
what he said. That is correct. And people were frightened about that because they have not gotten the memo. The establishment media, CNN, the New York Times, the New York Daily News, a few years back, they all ran stories around the same time. You got to wonder when they all do these things together, what's going on. But in any case, they ran stories saying, hey, don't get all upset about Allahu Akbar. It's really a wonderful phrase, means all these different things. And above all, don't run away if you hear somebody shouting that. I think you're trying to get people killed.
Yeah, if you see Prophet Muhammad in a suicide vest screaming Allahu Akbar, just assume he's ready to work out or something. By the way, are we going to ignore the fact that this thing is like 1,000 times more accurate than Muhammad could have ever hoped to be?
That's
I mean,
true. It is. It's uncanny.
this is a way more accurate prophet than Muhammad. I just have to point out.
No book. He has no book. Let's see. All right, we have many stories here, and I am not able to find any that we. Oh, here we go. There is in Tijuana, right across the border from California, very near San Diego, right near Uthman ibn Farouk, there has been built a Muslim-only shelter for migrants called the Albergue Asabil Mezquita Taiba shelter in a former nightclub in Tijuana. And they recently, also in October, caught 9 more people on the terrorism watch list crossing the border. And so you got to wonder, why would anybody want to establish a Muslim-only migrant shelter on the Mexican-U.S. border? What on earth would be the point of that? What do you think, David?
No idea, but it's whatever the intentions are, they have to be completely peaceful.
Yes. So you don't think there's any connection between that and the fact that there have been now 67 people on the terror watch list apprehended trying to cross the border in the last few months?
No connection whatsoever. But my goodness, think, because we keep hearing about all the people that get by these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's up over a million. I think it's up over 1 million over the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you catch that many guys who are on the terror watch list, but you don't catch a ton of people crossing the border,
that's exactly it.
It seems like, just mathematically, it seems like you got a bunch of terrorists who have entered the country illegally.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I think that ultimately we're gonna find out, because if there are so many terrorists who got through, they're gonna let us know.
You can find them. You can find them at the gym where they're waging jihad on those weights.
Exactly. In India, in Uttar Pradesh, a gentleman named Muhammad Anwar woke up his wife Monday night because he wanted to engage in sexual relations. And then a little bit later, he wanted to engage once again in sexual relations, and she refused. Now, David, that's venturing into forbidden territory for her to refuse. There is a statement attributed to Muhammad. If a husband...
The angels will curse her until morning.
That's it. So he strangled her to death, Muhammad Anwar. This is the kind of thing that's going to happen. Now, I've had Islamic apologists say to me, but Islam does not tell you can kill your wife. No. But if it says the angels are cursing her because she's done this, and that you can beat your wife, well, sometimes accidents happen. You don't know where the beating is justified and where it must stop. And she can end up dead.
Or, as I've pointed out repeatedly, if you're commanded to, no matter what you're doing, sleeping, cooking, whatever, when your husband wants sex, you have to do exactly what he says. If you know that, and you refuse to obey him anyway, according to Surah 4, verse 65 of the Quran, you're not a real Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a real Muslim, well, you're an apostate. And so... you know what they say about apostates in Islam. And so the point is, all kinds of ways to defend this. But notice where that, especially in this instant, notice where all of this starts. Say you can have guys who are, just by nature abusive scumbags, you would hope that society does something along the way to convince them not to be abusive scumbags. And that if they do it anyway, then legal authorities need to step in there, and that woman's friends need to step in there to get her away from that abusive scumbag. You would think that, but then you have ideologies that actually encourage it. If she's the one with the problem, you're not the one with the problem. She's the one who's bad here, and you can teach her a valuable lesson, or kill her as an apostate if you really want.
Yep. So out of Austria, yeah, we have another story of the what did you expect variety, and that is that there is a mosque now in Vienna, and authorities are shocked, because this mosque has been discovered to be teaching anti-Semitism, David. Can you imagine?
No.
How could they be twisting and hijacking the Quran in such a way?
I don't know. Maybe they just read the Quran out loud.
So they're being investigated, and I think, imagine the embarrassment of the Austrian authorities when they find out that that's what all the mosques teach. That's what the Quran says. But they're not there. The Taliban is engaging in public executions, and a spokesman for the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, Bilal Karimi, said the execution took place after many investigations which were aligned with Islamic law. All sides should not have any concern in this regard and should respect it. We have to respect their public executions. The supreme leader spoke and said, "We have struggled with this much and fought for 20 years with the pagans to ensure an Islamic system. And now that Allah has given it to us, Allah means for us to ensure His divine commands." And to ensure His divine commands in Afghanistan means do violence to people in a public fashion so that the rest of them are too scared to get out of line. Here's a story out of Turkey, David, or Turkiye, they call it now. You know that the official name of the country has been changed because they were tired of being likened to a bird people eat on Thanksgiving. I kid you not.
Is that real? That's why they did it?
Yes.
I mean, that makes sense. Why would you want your country named? It's like, oh, we're going to name our country a gerbil or something like that. It's like, no.
I like that better, actually.
Or even, or you could, hey, this would be funny. Hey, we don't like being called turkey anymore. We're going to call ourselves chicken.
It's beautiful. They should have done it.
That'd be cool.
So in Turkiye, which is so different from Turkey, nobody will ever make any bird jokes anymore.
Gobble, gobble.
There's this columnist for a daily paper, and his name is Timur Soykan. And he exposed a prominent Muslim cleric. And the prominent Muslim cleric was married to a child. And this was back in, let's see. Oh my goodness, she was very young. My goodness. David, I'm just doing the math here, and it's sort of staggering. They were married in 1998 when the imam was 29 years old, and the woman is now 24, which means, if I'm not mistaken, that she was just a baby.
Yeah, and that would kind of make sense. I mean, Muhammad actually proposed marriage to a baby once.
Yep.
Then, of course, he married Aisha when she was 6, and you know, you've seen certain things. So most of them would say you don't have. Most of them would say don't go have sex with the baby, but you can marry them at any
And you do
age.
the thighing, all that business.
Yeah, you do all that disgusting stuff.
Yeah. So in any case, he exposed this, and the woman is talking. She's actually filed a complaint against this imam and says that he abused her when she was a child. And in any case, Timur Soykan, he broke the story, and now there are Muslims calling for his arrest and imprisonment. Not the imam, but the reporter.
Oh yeah, you gotta
And I
you
was
gotta sh-
thinking,
you gotta
welcome
shut
to our
him up.
world. Oh yeah,
No, I mean, imagine if you condemn this dude, and then you have to explain why why you're going after this dude. Well, guess what? The same reasons you'd go after that dude are the same reasons you'd go after Muhammad, and you can't allow that. So you always got to attack the messenger.
that's it. Happens to us all the time. In Texas, Amarillo, Texas. Now, they even got jihad there in Texas now, David. I don't think people know that, but they do. This
No,
fella.
we're all too busy watching the monster truck and tractor rally. Yeehaw!
Irfan Salmanzadeh. Sounds like a boy from Amarillo. Irfan Salmanzadeh. And anyway, Irfan Salmanzadeh, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Iran. He is 33 years old now, and he recorded a video in July 2021 saying that he was going to blow up Tascosa High School in Amarillo, which is actually where he graduated from. And then there was a loud explosion a few days later in his backyard. He was testing his explosives and was consequently arrested. He is now, I believe, he's sentenced. He's going to be sentenced. That was what was announced this past week, that the sentencing is coming up. Irfan Salmanzadeh.
I mean, the positive takeaway here is that a lot of these guys are so stupid that they get caught before they actually carry out their attack, or occasionally blow themselves up. But I remember when we lived in New York, and it was like, I counted, there was like 12 in a row, 12 terrorist attacks in a row that were all foiled. And it was almost always because the guys were stupid. Like they're going around, hey, they're going around their mosque. Hey, can you tell me where to get a bomb? I need to figure out where to get a bomb. But like the Department of Homeland Security is monitoring the mosque, which then is interesting later on when groups like CARE complain that you're monitoring mosques, but that's how you caught all these guys.
That's it. And they actually stopped that in New York City during the reign of Mayor de Blasio. Linda Sarsour and others prevailed upon him to end all programs of surveillance in Muslim communities on the pretext that every community was just as liable to produce terrorists. Amish, just as likely to give us terrorists as the Muslim community.
Yeah, so if you're going to monitor the Muslims, you obviously have to monitor the Mennonites. That's
Of
fair,
course.
fair is fair.
They both start with M.
Yeah, same thing. And all religions
Exactly.
are the same, so.
That's it. Okay, out of Iran, I had a bunch of stories about Iran, but we're running out of time. But there is one I wanted to hit. Our old pal, the Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps,
Don't call it
General.
that.
Yeah, I know they never call it that in the media.
Take out the
I've seen
Islamic.
so many times they call it the Revolutionary Guards Corps, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, but they never call it what it actually is called, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. But that is what it's called, folks. You can look it up. And the leader of it is General Hussein Salami. General Salami.
I have to say, I'm a fan of
Yeah.
salami.
Yeah, absolutely. When he gets together with General Provolone, they're little General Lettuce. Anyway, he said this very interesting thing. He said, today is the time to choose. We cannot take the middle ground. We must choose between the front of Islam and the front of heresy. Now, how can somebody like that think he has anything to do with Islam? I don't understand that. The choice is clear, he goes on. The movement that has the support of America and Israel is a filthy and impure movement. Now get this, David. He's a total misunderstander of Islam. The Quran instructs us, note that I am quoting the Lord, O you who believe, do not take the Jews and the Christians as your allies. Now, he's twisting and hijacking the religion of peace, is he not?
Of course he is. What else? What else? What else could there be?
I'm so disappointed in General Salami.
What a ham.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think on that note.
Well, 1 second.
Yes.
A little housekeeping, real quick.
Yes.
Can you go over to the actual video here?
Can I, Spencer?
Yeah. Like
sure.
the real video with the comments and so on.
Yeah, sure.
So on YouTube.
I'm heading there now. I'm gonna have to be sure to turn off the sound, right? Okay. Here I am.
It should be going in your headphones. All right, I'm gonna leave a comment real quick.
Okay.
You click the little dots beside that and click make a moderator for the comments, because see some trolls here, and I would have put the guy in a timeout real quick.
Is that the? Am I missing that? Because I can see those over here, but I wasn't really looking much.
A guy was posting the entire Ummah lost today, which was a funny comment, but
I see. He just keeps posting it.
Yeah, posting it over and over again, hundreds of times. So
I'm banning him now.
Oh, you don't need to ban him. You give him a timeout, but you can ban him.
Actually, all I see is the only choices I have here are add to broadcast or ban. That's it.
Really?
So sorry, buddy.
Add to broadcast or ban.
Yeah, those are the only choices I got. Anyway, I don't see. Did you leave the comment, David?
Wait, did you go over to the actual video with the? In other words, are you on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm looking at the YouTube right now.
That is weird. If you're in your account, you should be able to click a dot and then make someone a moderator.
I don't see. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this.
No,
I don't see you. Did you say?
Oh yeah, I didn't post anything. So
okay.
I just posted under Apologetics Roadshow. This is me.
Yeah, I can. I see that if I click on somebody's comment, it says add moderator.
Oh yeah. Click on mine and add me as a moderator, and that way, if I see a guy
Apologetics Roadshow, that's you.
Yes.
You are a moderator.
Okay, cool. So yeah, now if just for future reference, if someone's spamming, someone's gonna have to be, like porn. I'll just instantly block the dude. Other guys, other guys, I'll try to give them a little warning or something.
Well, how come you have the ability to do that? All I have the ability to do is ban. Maybe my setup is Islamic.
Let me see.
Anyway,
it says I'm a moderator. Yeah, I can go to channel, I can report, I can remove, I can put user in a timeout, or I can hide a person from their channel. So I get way cooler options than even you get. This is funny.
This is odd. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the world is full of oddities and mysteries. Most of them are beyond us, but we do know about Jihad. And this has been another week of Jihad. There's likely to be even more Jihad, and likely we will be here next week to tell you all about it. In the meantime, be safe, avoid the jihadis, and may God bless you all.